held back tears as I watched my fiancé, the one I had lived with for 3 years, John, put things away in the closet and pack his bags. He had just broken up with me, accusing me of not being religious enough for him. "John, can we talk about this?" I pleaded. "I know my faith isn't as strong as yours, but I can work on it. I love you." "We have nothing more to talk about, Amy," John said without looking at me as he continued packing. "I've made my decision. We obviously want different things." I thought back to the conversation we'd had last week when I'd told John about my student loan debt and credit card bills. Even though we were running a separate household, I had hoped that by getting married we could work through our money problems together. But after that conversation, he became cold and distant, claiming I had hurt his pride by hinting that he couldn't provide for me. "Is it because of money?" I asked. "Because I know I should have been more responsible, but we can figure that out." "No, it's not about the money," John snapped back. "It's about you not taking your faith seriously. I want a wife who shares my religious values. I've been doing a lot of thinking and praying, and God is telling me you're not the one." I started crying even harder, feeling my world crumbling around me. How could he break off a 3-year relationship so callously without even trying to mend it? John closed his suitcase and headed for the door, still refusing to look at me. "I'm sorry, Amy, but this is goodbye." The next few days passed in solid tears. I felt so bad for the first time in years that I had to go to the hospital for a checkup. My best friend Sarah came to check on me. Curled up on the couch in my pajamas at 2 in the afternoon, I knew I had to look pathetic. "Honey, you can't keep doing this to yourself," Sarah said, sitting down next to me. "You need to get up and take a shower, and I'll make you some tea." "What's the point of that?" I muttered. "My life is over. John was everything to me, and now he's gone." Sarah sighed. "Amy, John treated you horribly. You can't let him have that kind of power over you. You have to start moving on." As logical as her words sounded, my wounded heart couldn't accept them just yet. This was so unexpected, Sarah. We were making wedding plans, looking at houses. How could he just throw me away like trash? "I never liked John," Sarah admitted. "He was always so arrogant, acting like a holier-than-thou. You deserve better than that, Amy. Someone who really cares about you." I shook my head and grabbed a tissue to blow my nose. "I thought he was my soulmate. He said God told him I wasn't the one, so how can I argue with that?" Sarah squeezed my hand. "Don't let him make you doubt yourself and your self-worth. In time, you'll realize you dodged a bullet. This is just the first step to something better." I rested my head on her shoulder, wanting her reassurance. But right now, without John, the future looked bleak. After a few weeks, I started to come to my senses. I went back to work, and my coworkers were supportive, letting me vent when I needed to. Most of them said they never liked John and assured me that I would find someone better. I had just worked a 12-hour shift as a nurse and walked into the coffee shop around the corner from my apartment for a caffeine fix. Out of habit, I opened the Bible app on my phone and selected what I usually read in the morning. Trying to focus on the words, I didn't even notice him walk in. But suddenly, he appeared, John holding the door for the teenage girl. She giggled coquettishly as they got in line together, touched his arm and stood much closer than necessary. My mouth dropped open and the blood rushed from my face. It couldn't be. But as they came closer, I saw the familiar dimples and muscular figure I knew so well. The girl was wearing a fast burger uniform. She must work at his store. As they passed my table, a conversation started between them. "I'm so glad we can say our prayers together," the the girl said sweetly. You were so right about your ex. I could never understand someone having such weak faith. John nodded. Well, God brought you into my life for a reason. Our relationship is exactly what I've been praying for. He then leaned over and kissed her right on the lips. I froze in place, my world crumbling anew. My devout religious ex-fiancé had left me to cheat on me with a teenager from a fast food job. Suddenly, Sarah's words echoed in my mind. I had indeed dodged a bullet. John wasn't the man I thought he was. I didn't sleep much that night after seeing John with a teenage girl. My mind was racing, replaying memories of our relationship from a new angle. All the times he had criticized me for not being spiritual enough or not knowing as much about the Bible. He seemed to look down on me, even though I went to church every Sunday and practiced worship. I brushed it off, believing that compromises had to be made in relationships. I pulled out my journal and started writing down all my thoughts. John took advantage of my willingness to bend and compromise under the guise of religion. He was using my openness against me, making me feel inferior for not being as conservative and devout. My phone buzzed with an incoming call. It was Sarah. Through tears, I told her about what I had witnessed the day before. Oh, Amy, she sighed. As much as it hurt you, you had to see his true face. He covered himself with religion to control you, but in reality, he's a hypocrite. I know, I snorted. I keep wondering, when did he meet her? How long has he been lying to me? You could drive yourself crazy with those thoughts, Sarah said softly. The details don't matter. He betrayed you, and that is unforgivable. But you can move forward now, free of him. I knew Sarah was telling the truth. Looking into my revelation journal, I realized that John's betrayal might be my greatest blessing in disguise. I finally saw him as manipulative and arrogant. Now, I could let go of the lingering guilt and begin to heal. For the next few weeks, I decided to be kind to myself. I took hot baths, took long walks to uplifting podcasts, and cooked healthy meals like chicken noodle soup. Slowly but surely, I was getting better. One Saturday afternoon, my friend Carla invited me over for lunch. She greeted me with a warm hug. You look great, Amy. Your spark is coming back, she said with a smile. I feel better, I admitted. Writing, praying, taking care of myself. It's helping. Over salad and sandwiches, Carla told me about the latest office gossip, tactfully avoiding mentioning John. As we cleared away the dishes, she hesitated before cautiously asking, Have you heard anything about him? I shook my head. I deleted his number and removed him from social media. For all I know, he's still with... I swallowed hard. With her. With the teenager from his store. Carla frowned. I still can't believe he left you for her. She must be barely a perfect year-old. I try not to think about it, I admitted. Sarah says that if you dwell on them, they still get a hold on me. I'm working on getting over it and moving forward. Carla squeezed my shoulder. You're so strong, Amy. Let me know if you need anything. And don't give up hope. There's a wonderful guy waiting out there who will treat you like a treasure. I managed a weak smile. I'm starting to believe that too. 1 year later, I took a deep breath of fresh spring air as I stepped out of my new home. The last year had been emotionally hard work, but through counseling and the support I received, I was able to make progress. I got a text on my phone. It was my boyfriend Mark confirming our dinner plans. We met at a friend's wedding 6 months ago and hit it off immediately. He was kind, funny, and emotionally available, everything John wasn't. I slid into Mark's car and he greeted me with a warm smile. "How was your day, babe?" he asked, taking my hand. "Great," said I. "My manager said I'll be promoted soon, since I just got my master's degree." "How about you?" "That's terrific news," grinned Mark. "You're gonna make a great head nurse." My day went well too. I had an important client meeting, so I'm starving. We chatted casually over dinner. Mark asked thoughtful questions and listened intently when I spoke. No criticism or subtle rebukes that I wasn't spiritual enough. No pressure to conform to strict gender roles. Just mutual love, respect, and support. Later, as we slow danced in his living room, I rested my head contentedly on his chest, overflowing with gratitude for this gentle, compassionate man. My journey to healing had led me here, to a man who cared for me completely. The heartbreak now seemed like a distant memory, turned into a reminder that I would never again compromise my worth for love. With Mark, I was finally home.